Please welcome Carnegie Mellon University's 10th president, Dr. Farnam Jahanian.
Well, good evening, everyone. There are a few seats around. Take a seat if you wish. Or if you want to be closer to the bar, you can just stand next to the bar. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It's so wonderful to see so many of you, friends and members of our university community here. I hope you are enjoying a fantastic start to our Carnival weekend. I've given a few remarks today, and at every turn I've said, isn't it amazing what a weather we're having for this Carnival? It's probably the best one we've had in many, many years. Certainly over the last decade, 12 years I've been here, I think this is the best one we've had. So, and what a weekend it's shaping up to be. Beautiful weather, of course, a vibrant campus, and that unmistakable CMU energy that's all around us. Carnival, of course, as all of you know, is one of our most cherished traditions at CMU. This marks our... How many years of Carnival have we had? Here's a quiz for those of you who've been around. Richard Shyness, how many years? 50?
104.
Wow, this is crazy. Richard, did you really say 50? Oh, 102, okay. Any other numbers? I want to see who's going to... Cynthia, this is going to take a long time, the way we're going. Okay, 112. It's quite incredible, which is quite extraordinary. Generations of Tartans, of course, have gathered for moments just like this, bringing together creativity, community, and tons of school spirit. Let me begin this celebration of the 25th anniversary of the Friedman Fellows by recognizing a few special guests that are here with us this evening. We're especially delighted to be joined by our guest of honor, Cynthia Friedman. Who is here, of course, with some of her friends and her children, Bill, Gordon, Stephanie, and a number of members of her extended family who are here. I won't recognize everyone, but thank you all for being here. Thank you for joining us. So happy to have all of you here. But there's one fellow that I need to recognize because he's a CMU alum, who is a member of Cynthia's extended family. It's Jacob Myers. Jacob, where are you? Come on, stand up. An alum gets a special recognition, of course, and Jacob is Cynthia's and Milt's grandson, who graduated from Dietrich College in 2021, and he's here with his wife and that little baby right there. Yeah, the provost here, he can admit anybody into future classes right now. Welcome back to campus, Jacob. I also want to acknowledge that several members of our Board of Trustees are here. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I see Anne Malloy sitting right in front of me, who is a dear friend of course, Cynthia. And university leadership, our deans, provost, and members of the university leadership are here. I know Jim Garrett was here. I saw him coming in. Jim is here. Mark Camlett, our former provost, here. So we got to... See, Jim, there's always an applause for the former provost. That's the way it works. Yeah. At least you didn't get booed. I mean, just think about it that way. But more seriously, there's so many members of our community, alumni, and of course our colleagues that are here. Welcome, everyone. Happy to have you here. But before I go any further, I do have to acknowledge our student performers. On piano, it's Tino Cardenas, a junior in the College of Fine Arts from Pittsburgh. On percussion is Danny Carey from Rock Hill, South Carolina, who is completing his master's at the College of Fine Arts. On double bass is Johnny Zhang from Shanghai. Johnny Johnny is a BXA inter-college degree, in BXA's inter-college degree program. Once again, join me please, thanking our students for being here. Folks, we're gathered here today to celebrate a family whose deep engagement reflects the very best of Carnegie Mellon, driven by innovation, entrepreneurship, compassion, and a strong commitment to societal gains. Milton Friedman was a proud engineering graduate of Carnegie Tech and a true embodiment of our founding spirit. He went on to co-found MGLO Products with a fellow CMU alum, Daniel Glosser. And together in the 1960s, they pioneered the portable air compressor technology that helped to transform construction practices at a key moment in America's growth. But what stands out in addition to his professional success was Milt's enduring connection to the university. Milt remained deeply engaged with CMU throughout his life as a volunteer, a champion, and a passionate advocate for our mission. As I've heard from Cynthia, I did not have the honor and pleasure of meeting Milt, but I've heard from Cynthia, and aspects of Milt's experience CMU that was transformative for him wasn't just what he learned as a student, as an engineer here at Carnegie Mellon, but just as importantly, his exposure to the richness of the arts. He believed in this institution, he believed in Pittsburgh, in the power of education to expand minds and to create opportunities as a catalyst for social mobility. That legacy has been extended in extraordinary ways by his wife and fellow Pittsburgher native, Cynthia Friedman, and who's done so much for the university. Cynthia has been a remarkable partner to Carnegie Mellon for decades. As I'm sure most of you know this, she's been a member of our Board of Trustees and served on the board for more than 2 decades. And her thoughtful leadership, deep insights, and her unwavering commitment to our future is always there. Cynthia brings with her a wealth of experience across a number of areas, including policy, government, the arts, charitable sectors, and so on. And speaking personally, since I've gotten to know the family and Cynthia over the past 12 years that I've been here, I'm truly grateful for her friendship and also for her wise counsel, and always her warmth and graciousness. In fact, I just mentioned, at a separate meeting that I was in Palm Beach a couple of weeks ago and texted Cynthia. It was a Tuesday, say, hey, I'm going to be there on Wednesday and Thursday. She said, I'm in New York on Wednesday, but I fly back early so we can get together. And she was there and we got together for breakfast. I think it was a Thursday morning. So it's always a pleasure to be with her, and I appreciate her counsel. What truly distinguishes Cynthia is her generosity of spirit and her deep passion for creating opportunities for others. She's a leader whose passion for politics and public service, as all of you know, started her on a remarkable journey that continues to this day. One of the co-founders of the Women's Leadership Forum of the Democratic National Committee, Cynthia is a great believer in the importance of encouraging and empowering the brightest young people to embark on careers in public service. This vision was a strong motivator for the creation of Friedman Fellows program. You're going to hear about that shortly. Through Cynthia's vision and philanthropy, she made a lasting impact on our university, supporting students, advancing the arts, and strengthening our academic community. And her impact goes beyond supporting the Friedman Fellows. She's been a member of the College of Fine Arts Dean's Council in the past. She has supported faculty and students at CMU in a number of ways, including, and most notably, the Milton and Cynthia Friedman Associate Professor of Music in the School of Music, and the Milton and Cynthia Friedman Scholarship in our College of Engineering. And of course, we're here today celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Milton and Cynthia Friedman Washington's Internship Fund. For a quarter century, this program has opened doors for our students, giving them the opportunity to engage in public service, to experience policymaking firsthand, and to begin shaping their own paths as leaders. More than 400 students have benefited from this extraordinary opportunity, and many have gone on to pursue careers in Washington, D.C. and in public service. Each one is part of the Friedman legacy. Can I ask any of our Friedman Fellows that are here, I know we have at least a couple here, please stand to be recognized. Or wave your hand. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you for being here. Cynthia, on behalf of the Carnegie Mellon University community, I want to share with you how deeply grateful we are to you and to your family for your leadership, for your generosity, and for your enduring commitment and belief in our students and in Carnegie Mellon. Once again, please join me in thanking Cynthia and her extended family for all that they do for CMU. As I mentioned earlier, we're delighted to be joined today by members of the Friedman family. I want to recognize Gordon Friedman, who has come here from San Francisco to be with us, and his wife is here as well. And I know Bill is here and his wife, and of course, Stephanie is here and her husband. But Gordon is going to join us at the podium and make a few remarks. So it's my great pleasure to invite Gordon to the podium to say a few words about his parents and their extraordinary impact. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Gordon as he takes the podium.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gordon Friedman, Cynthia's youngest child. My mother feels that in life, one of the most important things you can do is show up. If you want to make a difference, if you want to change something, you need to show up and participate. 25 years ago, she started the Friedman Fellows program to help CMU students show up in Washington, D.C., giving them an opportunity to experience firsthand how things get done there. My mom began showing up years ago. When we lived in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, a flood wiped out our town. She put a Red Cross sign on our Jeep and drove downtown to help. In those days, Johnstown had a historic but rundown train station. My mom felt the town needed better. She rallied our local congressman for support and helped secure the funding to restore it. When elections were held for our local borough council, she ran as a first-time candidate and won. When the council had to choose a new president, the other party couldn't decide on the right person. Their votes canceled each other out, and my mom won that election as well. During presidential election cycles, my mother always found ways to be part of the process. She supported Mo Udall when he ran for president, and she served as a delegate from Pennsylvania later for Ted Kennedy when he ran. When Udall visited Johnstown on a campaign stop, she helped arrange for him to meet Paul Newman, who was in town filming the movie Slapshot. The two drank beer and shot pool at a local dive bar, and if you know Johnstown, that's where you'll find the voters. Wanting to get even more involved in politics, my mother decided she had to be in Washington, D.C. Once there, she enrolled as a graduate student at George Washington University in public administration, but she also reached out to the Democratic National Committee to see how she could help. This is when her gift for organizing and political fundraising really took off. After a few years at the DNC, she opened her own political consulting firm, Cynthia Friedman Associates. With an office on Capitol Hill, she and her colleagues, which included one of my college roommates, helped senators like Bob Kerrey and Paul Simon with their fundraising and outreach for their campaigns. But it was a few years later, when Bill Clinton and Al Gore were elected, that led her to her next and longest-lasting achievement. When they took office, their accomplished wives, Hillary Clinton, Tipper Gore, came with them. My mother sensed an opportunity. With her friend Carol, she created a new organization within the DNC, one focused solely on women, called the Women's Leadership Forum. With Hillary and Tipper's support, the WLF organized nationally to engage women in democratic politics. As Farnam said, it's been a huge success, and it's still going after over 30 years. The WLF has raised millions of dollars for the party and given thousands of women across the country an opportunity to be involved in national politics. At its annual conferences, prominent Democratic women are featured, and Presidents Clinton, Obama, and Biden have all spoken. Today, my mother is still very active in politics. She has not slowed down, not only nationally, but also in her home state of Florida. When candidates visit, they seek her out because they know that she has the experience and the contacts to draw a crowd. And her friends know that if she's supporting a candidate or a cause, it's worth showing up for. So hearing from the Friedman Fellows about their experiences in Washington is something that brings my mother and my family great joy. But the Friedman Fellows also honors my father, Milton Friedman. And here's the part where you probably should preview each other's speeches so you don't say the same things twice. But Farnam's mentioned some of this stuff. But he graduated from Carnegie Tech, as it was called at the time, with undergraduate and graduate degrees in engineering. He was a brilliant engineer who designed and manufactured products that remain industry standards. He loved CMU, not just the engineering, also the students he met in departments like music and drama. And I'm guessing that my mother's love of music and the arts was part of what drew him to her. So thanks for showing up to celebrate 25 years of the Friedman Fellows. We have lots of family and friends here in the audience, and I think I speak for all of us when I say, Mom, we are so proud of you.
Oh my gosh. Wow, I must tell you. Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. I too, it may be a little redundant because some of the things we do repeat, but we'll get over those quickly and get to the ones you don't know. But I do want to thank all of you for being here today. Whether you're an intern, an alum, a faculty member, or a special guest, you're all part of the Friedman Fellows, and you've helped make it what it is today. A very special thank you to my son, Gordon, I'm going to cry, who I know speaks on behalf of my son, Bill, and my daughter, Stephanie, and just spoke so nice. Some of these things I actually sort of out of my memory already. The railroad station in Johnstown that had all the beauty on it, but it was covered over with dirt and stuff, and we did a bit of a job there. I mean, I can't say we did the whole thing like Grand Central, but we made it a lot more beautiful. So thank you so much to my children. Your father would be very proud of all three of you, as I am as well. I want to acknowledge Farnam Jahanian for his wonderful introduction to everything. He's really told you a lot about this program. And to me, he's been just a wonderful friend. What a leader we have at Carnegie Mellon. What a leader. I've been through three presidents, and what can I say? We are in fabulous hands right now. We always have been, but it's super special. A very special thank you to my friend Pam Eager, who has helped with this project, I think, from day one. We have known each other, been through many changes and additions, and I'm telling you, we wouldn't be here today without her. And to the incredible team at CMIST with their director, Audrey, Kurth, Cronin, and Emily Half, who has been also working with the interns in the Washington office, as we agreed, almost from the very beginning, she now with CMIST. They have done a fabulous job, and they continue doing it. Audrey, we're thrilled having you as the new leader. Ashley Barnes and Meg Neal, I've met them many times in the Washington office when I go there for visits with the interns. They're the ones that make it all happen beautifully, and they maintain the Washington office, which Carnegie Mellon has, right across, next door to the Supreme Court, in case you're looking for it. best location in town. And finally, Dr. Richard Shines, the Dean of the Dietrich College, whose generosity, support, friendship, and understanding has been of great value through all these years, too. So I am deeply moved as I look around this room and I see the faculty, and I see they said there were about 40 alumni that are here today. You know, I've met them in the little time we've had representing the program's 25 years. Honestly, I never could have imagined such a thing when we started all of this. It just so happened when I was packing up to come here, I found a little pamphlet from 2006 that had one of the students that had been interning. I think we started, in 2000, and they wrote in a little booklet, thank you notes to me, and there were about 5 of them. And it was the same feeling coming out, the gratitude and the excitement. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But right now, never could have imagined all this when it began. But I want to tell you a little bit more about my husband, Milt, for whom this program is named. Milt was a Pittsburgher. He grew up here, he went to grade school here, he went to high school, and then he got accepted to college here. This city was his whole world. But when he began attending Carnegie Institute of Technology, his world cracked wide open. As was mentioned before, he found himself studying with drama students, computer science, business, students who were participating in a lot of disciplines and ways of thinking that were completely unlike his or his family, anything he knew. Now, my husband was born to be an engineer. There's no question about it. His mother always said, we better if you're a doctor, dear. You know how that was the time. If mothers wanted all their sons to be doctors. Anyway, he was an engineer, but he used to joke, he'd say, engineers are boring as a rule. You can laugh at that because that's what he said. But he appreciated being surrounded by people, all these people who thought differently, and people he could learn from. He met them on this campus. Carnegie Mellon gave him the complete education, as Farnam said, both his undergraduate and master's degree at this university. But the school also gave him more than what the curriculum could teach him. He was relentlessly curious about the world and the people in it. That feeling never left him. As was said previously, he loved Carnegie Mellon for the rest of his life, not just as a name on the diploma, but as the place that first showed him how big and varied the world could be. And although I was a Pitt alumna, not a Carnegie Mellon one, I think I shared that curiosity with my husband. As an undergraduate at the University of Pittsburgh, I ended up studying everything from psychology, political science, to art history. I must tell you, I first met my husband on a blind date in Pittsburgh, and the woman who set us up for that blind date is here today. She and her husband, Toby Wolf. Hey, Toby. So anyway, Milton and I met, we fell in love and got married, and we started a business. We moved to Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and as mentioned, he founded M-Globe Products in 1957. At the time, I said to him, I know how to type, so I'll be part of this, whatever we're going to do. So the first in the beginnings of this company, it was Milt, me, and 2 other employees on day one, until the police came 1 month later and took away one of them. So then it was 1 employee and the 2 of us. I'll never forget that. I remember the guy's name, Clyde Blau. So we started manufacturing. He started manufacturing anything and everything that he could. Portable heaters, fans, ski rope tow machines. But by the mid-1960s, he fixed his attention on air compressors. And as was mentioned, in those days, they were large and stationary. So he looked at them and thought, how can they be different? So in 1968, he introduced something which was the first wheeled portable air compressors, ones you could take on the job site. But basically, it sparked what people in the industry did call the pneumatic revolution. So the rapid nationwide spread of air-powered tools used on residential and commercial construction sites. So over the years, Milton and I worked side by side for 20 years in my case. We expanded MGLO's global reputation until it was synonymous with the industry standard for commercial industrial equipment. And then over the years, he sold the business. We sold to a company from Switzerland. It's now in its third ownership, and it's owned by Black & Decker. He would be very pleased if he knew that. But all of this gave me a foundation where I learned with him about business, financial management, and the power of interpersonal relationships. So at that point, our 3 children were getting older, and I had the time and the confidence to explore something new that I wanted to do in the realm of public service. So as mentioned, I ran for city council, town council within the city of Johnstown, and I was elected as the first woman ever. I was things were changing. I was the top vote getter because everybody knew me in the community, and it was time for first woman. Anyway, I served that 4 years, then went to George Washington University graduate school. But being in Washington changed me in the same way Carnegie Mellon changed Milton. I found myself surrounded by people, I'm telling you this for a reason, who were sharp, passionate, and alive with purpose. People who cared deeply about how our country worked and who were determined to help shape it. I had found my place just as Milt had found his decades earlier here at Carnegie Mellon. Over the years, I became more involved with the Democratic National Committee and, as mentioned, the Women's Leadership Forum, which was the first national political outreach designed specifically to engage women in America. We were helped significantly by Hillary Clinton and Tipper Gore in 1992, who thought Cynthia and Carol had a good idea. And they said, we'll help you. We'll be part of it. We'll get it going. And they did. 30 years later, WLF has activated thousands of women in the democratic process, and we continue to grow. I did go on to serve on the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities, a presidential appointment by then President Bill Clinton, and continued to serve as a national co-chair of the Women's Leadership Forum. So in 1996, after my husband died, I was honored to be appointed a trustee here at Carnegie Mellon. My work was still concentrated in Washington, and I began to notice something that seemed like a missed opportunity. This university, which was producing some of the most brilliant, capable, forward-thinking young people I had ever encountered, had very few formal pathways to get those students to Washington. So I went to then President Jared Cohen, and I said, you know, this is no longer a global university that you're running. You are becoming something, this is no longer a regional university that you're running. You are becoming something global and educating the leaders of the next generation. And those young people need to understand how Washington works, how Congress works, how relationships are built, how the decisions that shape our lives actually get made. Because if they are going to lead, they need to be in the room where it happens. Jerry understood immediately, and he told me, and he's told some of the students, the interns along the way, about his own experience as an intern for U.S. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan of New York. One day, he had just been out of college and graduate school. The senator turned to him one day and said, Jerry, I need a position paper on something to do with climate. And Jerry thought, who, me? But he researched it, he wrote it, and some of what he wrote became the foundation for one of the senator's actual speeches on the Senate floor. I hear these stories today from some of the interns of Friedman Fellows. Who, me? You want me to do this? Yes, you can. This is what Washington can do for a young person. It shows them that their ideas matter and they have something to offer. So the Friedman Fellows were born. And as was mentioned, in the 25 years since, we have proudly helped more than 400 Carnegie Mellon students show what they have to offer. 25 years is a long time to be involved with the program, and people sometimes ask me why I remain so committed to this program. The answer is simple. It is one of the most joyful things I have ever been a part of. I might have missed some news, but I have never once heard any muttering that, oh, it was a waste of time or something like that. I hear wonderful comments anyway. Every year I hear from students whose summers in Washington did exactly what it hoped. It opened their eyes and expanded their sense of what is possible and sent them back into the world with a deeper understanding about how they could contribute to it. That's what Mill's education did for him. That's what Washington did for me. When I can, I travel to Washington in the summer to visit with the current fellows. Those evenings are among my favorite of the year. There's nothing quite like sitting across from a student, young person who's spending the summer on Capitol Hill and seeing that a fundamental shift has taken place. More than once, a student has looked at me and said simply, "This summer changed my life. I did things I never dreamed I could do," end quote. That never gets old. So I am so proud of the program. In today's world, the work these fellowships do feels more urgent than ever. And there's one more thing. There is a growing movement across the country to restore a genuine understanding of what we used to call civics, of the Constitution, of the government functions, and what engaged citizenship really looks like. What the fellows learn during their summers is not simply policy or procedure. They do learn that the decisions made in Washington affect every person in this country, and someone has to be in the room, curious and engaged and willing to do the work in order to improve things for everyone. You've learned that, and you will carry it forward. To the fellows, thank you for carrying my husband's legacy. I hope you've learned what you're capable of, where you belong, and how much you have to contribute. You embody what Milt believed, that when you surround yourself with people who have new ideas and perspectives, something wonderful can happen. You are exactly who he knew Carnegie Mellon students could become. And to the Carnegie Mellon Institute of Strategy and Technology, to the faculty and staff who have cultivated and cared for this program for 25 years, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Milt would have loved this event today. He would have found every one of you to be endlessly interesting. He would have wanted to know what you're working on, what problems you were trying to solve, what you thought could be done differently. That insatiable curiosity was the greatest gift Carnegie Mellon ever gave him. What a beautiful tribute to keep passing it on. Thank you again, all of you. Oh my. Oh, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mateo Ruiz-Leal, and I am a Friedman Fellow alumnus. Before I begin, I want to take a moment to thank Cynthia, who is sitting right up front today. Cynthia, thank you so much for your generosity and the remarks that you just gave as well. This fellowship has been a huge part of my life, and I am incredibly grateful for the opportunity to step outside the classroom and do some meaningful work. In fact, I've been lucky enough to receive the Friedman Fellowship twice, and those two experiences completely shaped my path. My first fellowship took me to an internship in Congress. There, I came from an engineering and computer science background. It was a really eye-opening experience for me. As I researched and wrote memos, I started noticing the kind of questions that were being asked about technology, questions that I myself hadn't thought to ask because I saw the technical concepts as basic givens. But I quickly realized that those givens were exactly what policymakers were asking themselves about, and what they needed to understand in order to have the real-world impact of those new technologies. That experience showed me a major disconnect. Lawmakers are trying to navigate a rapidly changing world of technology without the technical background to fully understand it. While the people building these tools are often frustrated by how misunderstood they are, the people making the policy for these tools have a hard time reaching out to those people sometimes. That realization led me to my second internship. At Seed AI in Washington, D.C., I focused on the human impact of AI. There, my work included things like researching emerging risk, mapping key stakeholders, and writing a resource for congressional staffers called What is AI? It's a one-pager that's designed to make complex ideas more accessible to staffers. These fellowships helped me realize that good tech policy needs translators, people who can bridge the gap between technologies and policymakers. And that's the work that I want to keep doing. Next year, I'll be continuing that path in CMU's Accelerated Masters of Science in Security, Technology, and International Relations, or MST there, where I hope to deepen my understanding of these technologies and become better equipped to help the conversations around them. It's incredible how much an opportunity like this can change a student's life. And I'm definitely not the only one. If you look around the room tonight, you can see just how many people have been shaped by this fellowship. So on behalf of all of us, thank you, Cynthia, and thank you to the Friedman Fellowship. And now, a short video from some of the many other fellows that you've impacted.
I had the privilege of being a part of the inaugural Friedman Fellowship cohort, and that summer changed how I think about decisions, leadership, and responsibility, even today. Working on Capitol Hill gave me a front row seat to democracy in action. I learned policy isn't just about data or ideology. Good public policy can't always be determined simply by counting votes, numbers, or spreadsheets. It requires balancing ethics, stakeholders, context, and real-world consequences. One moment I'll never forget was unexpectedly meeting Senator Orrin Hatch. Before 9/11, interns could ride the underground Capitol subway, and he invited me to join him up on the Senate floor. We ended up talking about stem cell policy. As a college student, having a U.S. Senator seriously engage with me on a complex issue made public service feel human and accessible. Today, I coach professionals, including federal employees, navigating career transitions, and that perspective still shapes how I approach complex problems with empathy, and discernment.
If you look to the bottom of a very long list of my professional experiences on LinkedIn, you'll find a recommendation from my very first professional boss, Steve Brown. He was my supervisor during my summer internship at the Environmental Council of the States that was supported by the Friedman Fellowship. That experience gave me my first real job when Steve hired me after graduation. I couldn't believe it. Here was the kid from Buffalo whose parents never got a college degree working at a federal policy shop in the nation's capital. That role, the experiences, the networking led me to another internship at the U.S. Senate. For 20 years later, I've never stopped shaping federal policy. I've had the honor of serving in multiple administrations, working on the Hill, and receiving professional awards and accolades over the years for my commitment to federal service. And I can never forget that the Friedman Fellowship gave me a critical stepping stone at a time when none of those opportunities felt in reach. Thank you.
The fellowship allowed me to spend the summer interning on Capitol Hill at my congresswoman's office. And that experience led to a whole career dedicated to civil service. In the 24 years since that time, I've had incredible adventures. I've spent time working aboard U.S. Navy hospital ships in disaster zones around the world. I've lived overseas, traveling extensively through Europe, Africa, and the Middle East as a spokeswoman for the U.S. military. I was the Deputy Press Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. In fact, I've spent the last decade and a half of my career in the trenches of one of the most consequential policy issues facing our nation today: immigration. All of that is to say, a career in the civil service is a worthy calling, and a rewarding one. And I would not have gotten my start had it not been for the Friedman Fellowship and that summer I spent in Washington, D.C.
My experience at the Aspen Institute, made possible by the Friedman Fellowship, was a turning point. I remember the specific moment where it clicked. Arriving on DuPont Circle, reaching out the elevator, and arriving at the Aspen Institute. Suddenly, I wasn't just drafting practice policy memos in a classroom at CMU. I was immersed in an environment where global impact was on the daily agenda. I was no longer just reading about decision makers. I was in the same room as them. I was watching firsthand how leaders shape policy and redefine what it means to do purpose-driven work.
One of my favorite memories of the Friedman Fellowship isn't actually in a US Senate building or at a conference. It was a moment with Ms. Friedman herself. When I first met her, I shared how my desire to serve was shaped by the community that I grew up in and how I saw the city government fall short of the people it was meant to protect. Almost a year later, when we met again, she remembered me, not just my name, but my story, and she told me it had stayed with her. What moved me most wasn't only her generosity, it was her extraordinary attentiveness, her ability to truly see students, to carry our stories with her, and to remind us that our lived experiences matter. At that moment, I realized this fellowship was not just about opportunity, it was about her belief in us.
Well, it's hard to know what else to say, really. It's a wonderful tribute to you, Cynthia. A clear testament to your generosity and to the lasting impact you've had, the video we just saw, and also the stories shared this afternoon. For those of you that I've not met, my name is Audrey Kurth Cronin. I'm director of the Carnegie Mellon Institute for Strategy and Technology. We call it CMIST for short. Can you tell that I'm a Navy brat? We're honored to run the Friedman Fellow program, which is part of our Washington Center teaching and policy programming. So much has already been said beautifully today, and still it bears repeating once again. Cynthia, thank you. 25 years ago, you made a decision that has shaped hundreds of lives. Out of love for your husband Milton and a deep commitment to public service, you created a pathway to that service for 402 Carnegie Mellon University students. 402. Each of them came to Washington probably pretty nervous, untested students, and then they left with experience, confidence, a clearer sense of their purpose and what they could accomplish in life. Today, Friedman Fellows are working in congressional offices, electoral campaigns, federal agencies, embassies, think tanks, nonprofit organizations, law offices, businesses, and in national and international service of various types. The Milton and Cynthia Friedman Fellowships were established in 2000, as we've heard, through Cynthia's generosity in honor of Milton, her husband. And you already know, see, you're right, we should check these things out. This is going to be repetitive for a sentence or two. But anyway, Milton was a Carnegie Mellon alumnus. The goal of the fellowships is to support undergraduate and graduate students pursuing policy-related internships. The fellowship helps to make those opportunities possible by covering the costs that would otherwise place Washington out of the reach of most Carnegie Mellon University students. I mean, think about it. Washington is a much more expensive place to live. Many people have a difficult time managing their finances there, and the Friedman Fellowship is what makes it possible. It would not be possible without that. A good program does its work quietly, but an exceptional one leaves a record in the careers, the commitments, and the values of the people that it has touched. So on behalf of CMIST and our faculty and staff, and especially on behalf of all of the 402 Friedman Fellows, past, present, and future. Please accept our sincere appreciation, Cynthia, for everything that you set in motion. In addition, before we close, we're honored to present you with a commemorative book of photographs, reflections, and testimonials from 25 years of Friedman Fellows. It's a small expression of appreciation to you, and we couldn't put everyone in the video, and not everyone could attend, but this book has virtually everyone in it, and it's for you to take home, and we will rewrap it for you, but I cannot resist showing everyone. So, everyone, let's have one final round of applause for Cynthia, and then please enjoy the refreshments.